What if there's another version of you out there, living a life you can't even imagine? What if that version isn't as kind, as safe, or as human as you are? Welcome to the chilling world of parallel universes, realities that exist alongside ours, separated by a thin veil we can't see, or can we? Today, we're diving into some scary parallel universe stories that will make you question what's real and what's waiting just beyond the edge of our world. Let's get started, but be warned, these tales might make you think twice about the shadows in your room tonight. In a small town, there lived a girl named Sarah, who had always been fascinated by mirrors. She'd spend hours staring into them, wondering if they held secrets beyond her reflection. One day, while exploring her grandmother's attic, she found an old, ornate mirror with a cracked frame. It was beautiful but unsettling, as if it was watching her. That night, she hung it in her room, unable to resist its strange pull. As she brushed her hair in front of it, she noticed something odd: her reflection wasn't mimicking her movements. It was brushing its hair with the wrong hand. Sarah froze, her heart pounding. She waved her hand, but her reflection didn't move. Instead, it smiled, a cold, unnatural smile that sent shivers down her spine. The reflection whispered, "I've been waiting for you." Sarah stumbled back, her mind racing. Was this a trick? A hallucination? Before she could react, the reflection reached out, its hand pressing against the glass from the other side. The mirror began to ripple like water, and Sarah felt a pull, as if something was trying to drag her in. She screamed and turned away, but the whispering didn't stop. "You can't run from me," it said. "I'm you, from the other side." Over the next few days, Sarah's life unraveled. She'd wake up to find her room rearranged, her belongings moved in ways she couldn't explain. The reflection grew bolder, speaking to her every night, telling her about a world where she was cruel, ruthless, and hungry for Sarah's life. It wanted to trade places, to escape its dark universe and take over Sarah's reality. One night, Sarah woke up to find herself standing in front of the mirror, her hand already touching the glass, as if she'd been sleepwalking. The reflection was gone, and so was the mirror. But now, Sarah feels like she's being watched, and sometimes, she catches herself smiling in a way that isn't her own. The radio that spoke the future. Mark was a radio technician who loved tinkering with old equipment. One evening, while working late in his garage, he picked up a strange signal on a vintage radio he'd been repairing. It wasn't music or news, it was a voice, faint and distorted, speaking directly to him. "Mark, don't go to the park tomorrow, you'll die." The voice sounded like his own, but colder, more desperate. Mark laughed it off as a prank, but the warning stuck with him. The next day, he avoided the park, just to be safe. That evening, he heard on the news that a tree had fallen in the park, killing a man who'd been walking there. Shaken, Mark turned on the radio again. The voice returned, clearer this time. "Mark. I'm you, from a parallel world. I died that day, but you can save us both." The voice explained that it was Mark from a universe where he'd gone to the park and died. In that world, his death had set off a chain of events that destroyed his family. This Mark had found a way to reach across realities, using the radio to warn his other self. But there was a catch: every time Mark listened, the connection grew stronger, and something dark began to seep through. Mark started hearing the voice even when the radio was off, whispering things he didn't want to hear. "They're coming for you, because you lived." Strange things began happening, shadows moved in his peripheral vision, and he'd wake up with scratches on his arms. The voice grew more frantic, warning him about the others who wanted to cross over and take his place. One night, Mark turned on the radio to confront the voice, but instead of his own, he heard a chorus of whispers, all chanting his name. The last thing he heard before the radio exploded was, "You shouldn't have listened, now we're here." Mark survived, but he swears he's not alone anymore. Sometimes, he feels a cold hand on his shoulder, and he wonders if he saved himself, or doomed another version of reality. The door that shouldn't exist. In a quiet apartment building, a man named Daniel noticed something strange. A door had appeared in his hallway overnight, a door that hadn't been there before. It was old, wooden, and covered in strange carvings that looked like eyes. Curious, Daniel opened it, expecting to find a closet or a maintenance room. Instead, he saw his own apartment, but everything was wrong. The walls were cracked, the air smelled of decay, and his furniture was covered in dust, as if no one had lived there for years. Worst of all, there was another Daniel sitting on the couch, staring at him with hollow, lifeless eyes. The other Daniel spoke in a raspy voice. "You shouldn't be here, this is my world." He explained that this was a parallel universe where Daniel had lost everything, his job, his family, his will to live. The door was a rift, a rare crossing between realities, and it had appeared because the other Daniel wanted to escape. He begged Daniel to trade places, promising a better life in his broken world. But Daniel could feel the despair seeping from the other side, and he slammed the door shut, his hands trembling. The next day, the door was gone, but the nightmare wasn't over. Daniel started seeing the other version of himself everywhere, in reflections, in crowds, even in his dreams. The other Daniel's voice followed him, pleading at first, then threatening. "If you won't trade, I'll take your life by force." Daniel's reality began to unravel, his friends stopped recognizing him, his memories felt foreign, and he'd wake up in places he didn't remember going. One night, he found the door again, standing in the middle of his living room. This time, it was open, and the other Daniel was stepping through, a twisted smile on his face. Daniel doesn't know if he's still in his own world, or if he ever was. The fear of what's out there. Parallel universes might sound like science fiction, but theories like the many worlds interpretation suggest they could be real. These stories remind us that if other realities exist, they might not be as safe as ours, or they might want what we have. The idea of another you, watching, waiting, and possibly crossing over, is enough to make anyone uneasy. So the next time you see something out of place, a mirror that doesn't feel right, a voice that shouldn't be there, or a door that doesn't belong, think twice. You might just be brushing against a parallel universe, and it might be looking back. Thanks for joining us for these chilling tales. If you've ever had a strange experience that felt like another reality, let us know. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more spooky stories. Until next time, watch your reflection closely.